My parents refused when I asked for $10,000 to save my daughter's leg. Dad said, "We just bought a boat." Mom said, "A limp will teach you responsibility." My sister laughed. "I'll manage." Then my brother came along. "I've sold all my tools. Here's $800. He didn't know what was coming. I sat in the hospital waiting room, the smell of antiseptic burning my throat. My 7-year-old daughter Maya was behind those double doors. A freak accident at the park had crushed her tibia. The doctors were blunt. A specialized surgery could save the leg, but my insurance called it experimental. I needed $10,000 by Monday, or they'd proceed with a permanent procedure that would leave her with a prosthetic. I went to my parents' house. They were sitting on their patio, sipping expensive wine. I was shaking. I told them everything. My father didn't even look up from his tablet. "We just bought a boat, Leo," he said, scrolling through photos of a 30-foot cruiser. "The liquidity just isn't there. Besides, you should have had better insurance." My mother adjusted her pearls. "A limp will teach you responsibility, son. You've always been too soft. This will toughen you both up." I turned to my older sister, Sarah, a high-end realtor. She actually laughed. "I'd love to help, but I've got a brand deal coming up and I need to maintain my aesthetic. I'll manage my finances, you manage yours." I walked out feeling like a ghost. Then my younger brother, Sam, caught me at my car. Sam is a mechanic. He lives in a studio apartment and smells like grease and hard work. He handed me a crumpled brown paper bag. "I've sold all my tools, Leo. Every wrench, every lift, even my vintage bike. It's not 10 grand. It's 800, it's all I have." I broke down. He didn't know what was coming. He didn't know that while he was sacrificing his livelihood, I was recording every single second of that conversation on the patio. I didn't get the $10,000 from them. I got it from a viral crowdfunding campaign fueled by that recording. The internet saw the boat and the responsibility. My family was publicly eviscerated, but that was just the beginning. See, my father's business relied entirely on a squeaky clean reputation in a small, conservative industry. Within 48 hours of that audio going viral, his biggest clients pulled out. He was toxic. 6 months later, the responsibility came home to roost. My parents were facing foreclosure. The boat was repossessed at a massive loss. Sarah lost her aesthetic along with every single sponsor. They crawled to my house on a Tuesday night. Maya answered the door, walking perfectly on her own 2 legs. "Leo!" my father croaked. He looked 20 years older. "We're losing the house. We need a loan. Just until we get back on our feet." I stood in the doorway, Sam standing right behind me. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice as cold as the hospital floor, "but we just bought something." I stepped aside. Behind me, in the driveway, sat a brand new, state-of-the-art mobile mechanic unit. A literal workshop on wheels filled with the highest grade tools money could buy. "I bought Sam his dream," I said, "and as for the rest of the money, it's in a trust for Maya." My mother started to cry. "You're our son. How can you be so cruel?" I leaned in, looking her dead in the eye. "I'm not being cruel, Mom. I'm being responsible. This loss, this poverty, it'll teach you guys a lot. Isn't that what you wanted for me?" Sarah stepped forward, her voice trembling. "Leo, I'm your sister. I'll manage, right?" "You said I'd manage?" I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "Actually, Sarah, you said you'd manage. So go ahead, manage." I started to close the door. My father reached out to stop it. "You can't do this. We're family." Family is the guy who sold his life's work for $800 to save a little. "Girl's leg," I told him. "You're just people I used to know who happened to own a very expensive, very useless boat." I shut the door. We went into the kitchen. Sam looked at me a bit worried. "You think that was too much?" I watched Maya run across the kitchen to grab a juice box. Her gait was smooth, her laugh loud and healthy. "No, Sam," I said, handing him the keys to his new shop. "I think it was just enough." The silence from the front porch was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. They stayed there for a long time, knocking, pleading, and eventually sobbing, but I didn't open it. I had a daughter to play with and a brother to build an empire with. They wanted me to learn a lesson. I just made sure I was the one who gave the final exam. My parents refused when I asked for $10,000 to save my daughter's leg. Dad said, "We just bought a boat." Mom said, "A limp will teach you responsibility."